Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for having me here to join this forum. And the presentation of my study is Culture Language Translation Methods and Teaching Strategies in Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio. Here are the authors of the journal. We are all from the University of Putra, Malaysia. My name is Mian, and I'm a PhD student in translation and interpretation. So my presentation will include several aspects from introduction, literature review, methodology, research findings, and results, and also the conclusion and references. I'll study from the introduction of the two main key terms that in our research. First one is culture from Edward Taylor in 1817. So the culture is the complex whole, which includes knowledge, beliefs, arts, morals, laws, customs, and other capabilities and habits acquired by a human as a member of society. So understanding the culture provides a framework for language, making communication more efficient and minimizing the misinterpretations. So cultural language teaching is a foreign language education. Is crucial for fostering cultural awareness, enhancing language proficiency, and preparing learners for effective cross-cultural communication. And another one is Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, which also known as 聊斋志异, is a renowned classical literary work written by Pu Songling of Qing Dynasty. It composed of 491 individual tales, including supernatural stories, anecdotes, and folklores that ridicule the officialdom and expose the darkness in the realistic society of the Qing Dynasty. So it is an excellent resource for Chinese as a foreign language teaching, in which the abundant cultural terms is greatly aid Chinese learners in better Chinese language learners in better understanding the Chinese culture. So my research problem statement is the challenges in teaching Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio to learners of a Chinese as a foreign language lies in the effective translating and conveying its rich cultural content. So the collection of abundance of the cultural terms requires suitable translation methods and teaching strategies to ensure that the learners not only understand the surface meaning, but also the deeper cultural connotations. But there is a lack of comprehensive studies on this impact of various translation approaches and teaching methods in this content. So this study will aim to investigate how to enhance learners' cultural insights, comprehension of themes, and appreciation of traditional culture within the framework of this literary masterpiece. So the objectives of the study will focus on the integration of cultural language teaching within the context of literary works, emphasizing the significance of the translation methods and strategies, teaching strategies, enhancing learners' cultural insights and language skills, and will be followed as below. The first one, to identify effective translation methods for cultural terms in Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio. Second one, to review the significance of Chinese as a foreign language learners to understand connotations of Chinese cultural terms. And the third one is to explore translation methods that will prompt learners' comprehension of themes, which will enable recognition of traditional Chinese social culture systems and facilitate a deeper understanding of Chinese cultural terms, enhancing their overall cultural and linguistic proficiencies. So let's move to the literary review part. We divided it into three aspects. The first one is the definition of cultural terms. From the Peter Newmark In 1981, cultural terms refers to the concepts, relations, tools, and phenomenon, or generally to physical and spiritual aspects of living a particular society, which is closely related to the specific of that nation. So the cultural words are easily recognizable on their obvious differences with the target language culture, being particular to source language and being pragmatic in the process of translation. In Chinese linguist Zhou Zhipei, he introduced the concept of Chinese cultural words and classified into two categories. The first level of the word that carries the meaning of a cultural trace particular to a certain social culture community, which reference is unique thing or conception. So there is no corresponding equivalent in other communities. And it is used in cross-cultural communication. It is referred to as the word of a cultural uniqueness of a cultural word. Here is an example like 义宅, usually translated into county magistrate in English, which is the official titles presents administrative system of ancient China. So they will be offering readers valuable insight of the historical and cultural context of the Qing dynasty. And I'll also introduce the categories of cultural terms. From Eugene Leiden, he divided into ecological culture, material culture, social culture, religious culture, and linguistic culture. And for Peter Newmark, he classified cultural terms into ecology, material culture, social culture, social organizations, and gestures and habits. And according to Zhou Zhipei, he further divided culturally words into the words from different classification, different association, and different cultural norms. Building upon the cultural term category classification of Naida, Newmark, and Zhou Zhipei, they study categories the cultural terms found in the Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, divided into 5 major categories: ecological culture, material culture, institutional culture, and spiritual culture, and linguistic culture. So for each category, they will encapsulate in different aspects. For ecological culture, will encompass geographical and ecological feature in the source culture. For example, like the word 蓝麝, it's also describe a delicate, pleasing fragrance. 蓝 is the scent of orchids, and 麝 is the aroma of a musk. So this is belong this category. And the second one is material culture, refers to unique vocabulary related to clothing, food, housing, transportation, and leisure activities. Also include like everyday objects, tools, utensils, and even the units of measurement. For example, like the word 尺 or 寸, that will be foot and interest in English. That belongs to the measurement of the source of the culture aspect. And the next one is institutional culture terms, will includes words related to political institution, seasonal customs, social behavior norms, ethics standards, and both written and unwritten rules. I'll give you 2 examples like 青炉 or 吉福, that are the words associated with the wedding and marriage customs. And the next one is spiritual culture terms that will often consist of abstract vocabulary that reflects a nation's philosophical thinking, ideology, and religious culture, like yin, yang, dao. And linguistic culture terms that will reflect the phonetic or written characteristics of a language community, including like idioms, allusions, proverbs, rhetoric, and word formation, and character construction, and so on. They will carry a wealth of historical traditions and customs. For example, like the word 黑面如漆, we can translate like as black as a peach to describe a pitch black complexion. So the next term will be the connotation of cultural world. This is from the definition of Webster New Collegiate Dictionary in 2023. The connotation of the word refers to the suggesting of a meaning by a word apart from the thing it explicitly names or describes. So the concept of connotation of culture terms were related to additional layers of meaning, emotions, and cultural significance attached to word beyond their literal definition. So the methodology of this study is the cultural relevant teaching, group discussion, and enhancement. So we'll adopt a cultural relevant teaching and enhancement to derive into cultural terms within the strange tales from Chinese studio and their impact on learners to improve their ability of literal appreciation. So the cultural relevant teaching, also called CRT, is a category grounded in teachers' practice of cultural competence. They will encourage each student to relate course content to their cultural context. Constructivism theory laid the foundation of CRT. And in the context of teaching Chinese culture using strange tales from a Chinese studio, group discussion and enhancement test will be adopted. They will help to improve the respondents' comprehension of cultural terms. So, for the group discussion, the teachers will select a set of cultural terms that hold significant cultural connotations and divided learners into small groups of 4 to 6. And within each group, the teachers will assign one of the selected categories of the cultural terms for exploration. These categories encompass like the 5 classification that I mentioned before. So clear and detailed instructions will also be given to the learners, emphasizing the goal is to explore the cultural connotation and the significance of the assigned terms. And also the discussion part, the teachers will give them like 30 minutes for students to discuss and analyze the distinction between the literal and the free translation of the given terms. And this exercise helped them to better understand how to comprehend effective conveying the cultural connotation of the terms. The last one, the teacher will plays as a dual role during the discussion. For example, as a facilitator, she will or he will guide and moderates the discussion. And resource provider, the teacher will offer material for example, some multimedia resources or images to help students to understand better. So the enhancement test will play an essential role in improving students' comprehension of cultural terms. The target respondents will be learners who pass HSK Level 4, and the time limits will be given like 30 minutes. There are 20 questions. The first 10 was asked in Chinese, and the last 10 questions will be conducted in English. The contents of the examination is literal meaning and cultural meaning of selected cultural terms. So here is the table of categories of cultural terms in the text. If you're interested in this part, you can read in our journal to find out that each questions are following which categories and to find out the literal or the free translation method of use. So let's move to the research findings and results. From the response of the target respondents, the research outcomes can be summarized as below. The mean score answered questions in English was higher than the mean score that responded in Chinese, which suggests that learners perform better on questions related to the English translation of cultural terms. The variation in the scores are attributed to the familiarity of the cultural terms, the clarity of the translation methods applied, and also for the non-native speakers of level of proficiency in Chinese. So based on the results of the 20 questions related to the cultural terms, the questions fall into the categories of spiritual and linguistic cultural terms received the lowest mean score, such as religious-related terms like 我广寒 and 物化 and metaphors expressions like 黑面如漆 highlight the challenges of cultural understanding for learners who do not share the same cultural background. So that's come to the conclusion of these findings. The research focused on the significance of effective teaching cultural language in the context of Chinese classical literary works, such as Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, and categorizing the cultural terms and employing suitable translation methods. They are really crucial, but it's essential to integrate cultural language teaching with other teaching methods for a comprehensive approach. The other teaching methods including like contextual teaching, for the teachers can build up provide additional explanation or exercises to enhance their comprehension. For example, like the word 祈福, they can shows the historical wedding ceremony to the students and the images of the 祈福 to help them understand. Second one is cultural immersion, which help students to watch cultural films or of the traditional ceremonies and rituals. The last one is addressing cultural loss. So learners can examine the issue of cultural loss through misinterpretation. For example, like the word translating the concept of yin-yang as negative and positive may overlook its profound culture and philosophical depths. So instructors can prompt students to explore broader ideas of balance, harmony, or interconnections conveyed by yin-yang to emphasize the importance of precise interpretation and avoid cultural oversimplification. So here are the references of my thesis, and so much for this sharing, and thank you for your listening.